Hello and welcome to Double O'Neill. My name's Tris and I hope you're all well. I have been continuing from the last episode in regards to doing the kind of change up in the loft, and that's been really good. I'm really satisfied with it, but learning along the way as we all do, and it makes you want to redo some of the older things you have done. What I'm talking about is adding what I call is a sky, but it's not going to be my main kind of backdrop, so it's really something to kind of block the insulation and make the back a bit prettier. So I've added some white, let's call it fronted hardwood or hardboard, and with that I've then obviously put that up and painted it. But part of the journey has told me that I need different tools and things like that, and that's where nailing it all in became kind of a topic of thought for me. But what I'll just say is that the idea of backdrops is quite stressful, and very recently, actually been about 2 weeks ago now from when I've recorded this, Kathy Millett did a nice video on painting clouds and backdrops, and I found that very interesting, and a few other people have done this. So if you look up John Warner from Piccadilly Model Railway, as well as Kathy's videos, they both do quite a bit on there. So I find that all interesting, and it makes me want to have a go, but not on the ones that are already up. But yeah, maybe for the future. I also like the idea of having the vertical board that goes round, and you put a back scene on. So I'd have the back scene, and then I'll have my blue sky anyway. So with putting these boards up, it was a system of put up a frame of wood for them to then be what would be attached to be fastened to, with a mixture of glue and nails, because on this side of the layout I've had up for a while, and where the joins are, they've risen in between the screws, and I didn't want to put 50 screws along, but the ideas of using nails now is much more appealing to me. And that's something that I will fix, but that'll be on another day, because we only have so much energy and so much time. This is meant to be fun and a hobby, so we need to maintain that. So I think the principle of doing what you want when you want is really key. So I just used PVA glue, and that went on obviously the kind of the borderlines of it, as well as a bit down the middle, and that allowed me then to nail across the same areas and put it all up. But when I did the first board, I was hammering it 45 degrees above me with my trusty hammer, and it's excellent tool. It's I got this off a friend, and it was his father's, and they're good tools. But when you're doing that with a nail to try and hold it whilst holding a board up, it's not fun. So I got myself a nailer by Stanley. It's kind of a bit more joyful to use, because you can hold I use my head to hold the board, my hand on the other bit in my chin, and then I get the nailer in and douche, put one in to hold it, and then I work my way over, wearing eye protection of course, because that is very important. But yeah, as I work my way across all the boards, I was quite satisfied. Wasn't completely perfect, I had some gaps in places, but I'm the only one coming up here. But I know I do share these videos with you all, and that you want to see good quality work being done, but I'm afraid this is the best I can do. But I'm happy with what I've done, and thinking about what I want to do for the future with the back scene. I really like that idea, it looks good. I think on this side of my layout, which I have all my trees and stuff already, I want to have my hilly backdrop going up, so that'll be good. So I'm going to keep that with that in mind, but then on this side I want to have the back scene. I know it will make it look like two different railways, but maybe I'll adjust that one over time, who knows. These are all things that we can rip up and have another go out whenever we want. So with that in mind, I would have had this running in the background. You would have seen me putting it up at high speed with all my high speed shots of the time lapse or sped up in motion. I then obviously painted it with a roller, did 2 coats of that, I may do another coat here and there, but I'm going to see how it settles in. I think I'm going to have to add a few nails in. I've spotted a couple of places where bits of where there was a join. It's relaxed off a bit through the temperature changes that we're going through. So I'll put a few more nails in, run the roller up and down again and paint it blue. So yeah, that's that. So I'm really happy I've done it. It's just this side now I need to get some insulation in there. I've got a different type of insulation for that, which I'll do in a future video. And then I'll kind of nail that all back up. So should be good. What else have I been up to? Well, I've been doing my live streams week to week now, so I've been doing a live stream 1 week and then a video the week after, and that's been really good fun. I've enjoyed spending the time with you all. And on my first kind of official live stream that I planned to do, I built up a bridge, and it was for where the narrow gauge layout, which is up here, meets the OO gauge parts of the layout there. And we'll get a bit closer to that in a minute, and I'll show you a bit more about that. But on that live stream, it was actually over 2 because it took a bit of time. That's 2 fingers, not 3, or thumb. And it was this brilliant wooden laser cut model by In the Greenwood Laser, a company that do a number of models and various things that you can do out of wood. Some suiting N-gauge, AA gauge, and some into other areas within the craft world. So check them out. I've got the website up at the moment. You can obviously have a little look yourselves. But this kit was enjoyable to build. I got a bit confused on some bits, and thoroughly enjoyed it. But the biggest part for me, I thought, I'm gonna have to paint this, and I've got to paint it so it looks like a stony bridge. And I don't enjoy painting bricks. You've probably seen my attempts of brickwork painting in the past on other bits. I've never actually been very happy with it, and I like the idea of going for a bit of stonework everywhere, because what I do now is we'll just take a look at what I've put here, but then we're going to have a little watch, and I'll do a narration over the top. Narration, or speaking, dubbing, whatever, over the top. Voiceover, that's the one. Over the top, and we'll go through the process of painting it. I'm really pleased with it, so let's take a look at it. I've got it sitting up on the layout, and I'll show you why I've got it there and just kind of my thoughts behind what I'm going to do with it. So I'll crouch down here so you can see my large head in comparison to this. Gives it a bit of scale, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do about 4 tracks. I currently have 3 tracks coming through this area, but we have the 009 part here. And what I want to do is this will come forwards a bit, let's say, and then I want to build up some kind of a rocky face that kind of joins up the two, because with that it just makes it look like one layout opposed to a layout stuck on top of another, which is currently how it looks. But this is the bridge, which I'm really pleased with, and I don't know, the stonework came out alright, because the details that you can see here are all from the laser cutting, so they're just kind of deep marks that are in it. And I was concerned that it's not a case of just throwing a wash on there and then dry brushing it. It was a real case of, you have to paint this like an artist now, Mr. Neil. So that's that. That's gonna be living here. I'll kind of have the road connecting up to something, but I haven't figured it all out. But that's the beauty of the hobby. You don't have to figure it all out. So what we do now is we'll go down to the kitchen and I'll just start painting, and you can have a little watch and maybe you'll enjoy it. See you soon. So here's the fantastic wooden kit from In the Greenwood Laser. Obviously check out their website. I thought first of all give it a prime. I was worried I'd lose detail, but the kind of thin coats that I put on didn't seem to affect it at all, so just made sure I gave it good covering. I did 2 coats until the point that I thought, no, this is enough, you know, I don't want to ruin it. Then after that I wanted to look at a book which I had seen a stone, I guess it's viaduct or even bridge, whatever. So I used that. That's my reference for colours, so I can get some inspiration for the lights and patterns. Got a bunch of paints here. These are all from Hobbycraft. I'm going to be using all of them. They cost normally about £2 a pot, and I've got a few of them. And for doing this, I haven't used a lot, but I've got grey, greyish, greys, beige, and just various other colours, some creams. I'll be using some burnt umber, as well as some black. I think that's my main colours that I use for this, and that's enough really. So my main plan is to kind of always blend them with each other, so then it always keeps it nice when you're painting away. So my brown's there to be introduced at points, but it's not going to be a dominant colour. We'll be aiming at these creams in this. So I've got kind of my beige and cream mixed together here, and all I do is just get some on there, and I noticed straight away it really soaks into the wood, but that works really nicely for the way we're blending it. So I always make sure that I mix the colours together. So I've added little bits of brown here, I've got the beiges in here, and you can see that there's introduction of just kind of these random colours from time to time, but it blends, and that's the key bit. And I don't think you can ruin this. You just have to just keep adding and painting and working away, and just once that's finished we can come back and add things later on. I'm not an expert at this, so I was kind of painting and wondering how's this looking. At the moment it doesn't look like much. It looks like there's loads of paint at the top, but that's going to soak in. You can see at the bottom was the same before, but it is soaking in. So once this is all painted we can add some highlight later. So I'll work my way over the entire model, introducing it. It took some time. You're probably thinking that took ages, and it kind of did, but that's okay. It was about an hour and a half, I think, to do all of this model in the first stage, but that's the bit that took the longest, and that's okay. And this isn't meant to be rushed, this is meant to be enjoyed. For any of you that fancy painting something, it's not because you need to do it in a rush, it's because you want to enjoy it. And I really did enjoy it. So I've done most of this. I'm going to have to do not just the front side, we've got the back side to do, we've got the arches here. They're less important because the eye's not going to be picking them out so much, but we get some paint on there. I've added the different colours there, and again the back of here, we're not going to see much of it when I'm recording, but we're going to spot it if it's grey, so we get some paint on there, and just kind of give it the same kind of look as the front. That's my main aim with that. Top of the stones, so I get something on there. Really not sure what to do about them because there was no contour to them, they're just flat, so I'm going to have to paint in some highlight. So this is kind of the beigey colour that we've got here, and I'll be introducing some of the creams in a bit anyway. So that's one thing to think about, like when you're building these things, how am I going to paint it, but finding pictures of things I think is the key part. On the edges of those stones, I introduced a little bit of brown to the beige, because I noticed in the picture of it that it was just dirty when you look down the side of the stones. They don't have a clean look to them, so I thought I'd do that on both sides, and that will be really good. And I also introduced some of that colour to some of the bricks, but now I'm going for what is beige neat without any mixing with the browns or anything, so that kind of works out nicely to add a little bit more of a colour variant on the different kind of bits of stone that are on there. And with that I'll just work that into lots of different areas, so then it stands out. You can see that I've done some above where I'm painting, and it does stand out quite nicely, and it makes the other colours, which you've got the grey that's left from the primer, works really well with the blended other colours that are there, because a lot of those colours had the bits of grey mixed in with it. And so as we're working it around, you can see it's working out really nicely for the squares that are in the archway. Really pleased with how they kind of came out, and this is just the first stage. So this is the first part of the highlighting, I guess we could call it, because I'm going to come in later with a cream over the tops of some of these and really make these things stand out, because this will all soak in. So I wouldn't worry, like, if you're doing this, oh no, it's gonna, it's gonna stand out and look like this forever. No, it's soaking in, and it really makes it look like the real thing. That was what I was surprised about. I was really worried I'd do a terrible job of painting this, and we won't do this in the video. I'll just kind of quietly hide it away in the corner of the layout, but it's coming out nicely. It's not a model which I can just put a dry brush and a wash on to get it done. It's a case where you actually have to be an artist, which has been really fun. I think I might have already said that in some of my other work, but now I come out with a cream and it's really bright. It's very bright, and so I was like, oh, I don't know, but as I got going and I was adding it in and it was soaking in, it looked brilliant. Painting on this surface is like painting into paper. It's almost like watercolours here, and those crisp black lines are purely from the laser cutting, and they work out so nicely. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, doing a bit more of this. So I just work my way along. I pick out these areas which become highlights, slightly blurred in the picture when I move my hand around, but if we look at it, really makes it stand out and gives it that big highlight, so there's nothing kind of that's uniform about it. And then on top of these stones, again, I'm just adding this kind of bit of like as if the light had hit it, and just to give it its own individual look. I don't know, I'm running out of words to describe how that looks for me, but I'm kind of running edge highlights and things and making it look nice. After this, the hard bit will be of painting the pavement, as well as like, so you've got the walkway there, and this is just grey mix of beige. It looks like the same colour as everything else, but it's honestly not. Kind of made it a bit more wet and mix it with water as I'm painting it, and that soaks in. And then later on I introduce some other colours. I add a bit more grey to that same colour, and I start painting the kind of the stony brickish obviously driveway for the cars and the horses and carriages and people to walk on in mass. So I work my way over with this, but I wanted to make it a bit more dirty, because it will actually just become dirty from people walking on it. I know I don't weather my engines, but I feel like I should here. So I introduce a little bit of black on this, so there's a little bit of black here mixed with the grey, and then I put that in the corner because that's kind of where things wash to anyway, and I'm just going a bit neater with that and work my way around that. And then after this I'll be adding some brown, but with that I want to put it all over the pavement, so it will just be a touch actually mixing with the grey. So here's my brown, a little bit of grey again, and then I'll just introduce it in. And if you put too much in, you can add a bit of water just to help blend it all over it, and if you really hate it, you can just start all over again if it really comes to it. But once this dried out, I was really happy with how it came out. It's easy to say that now because it looks good, but at the time I was a bit hesitant, thinking, ooh, we're going to have to weather all of this with powder, but fine. And I might go back over some powder later on, but I'm happy with it. Really happy with how this has come out. Way better than I thought it was going to come out. It's just a case where you just got to have a go. And so I wish you all the best when you do have a go. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Well, I enjoyed doing that. Spending time on the, I've got my big cutting mat, you're painting away. I normally put a TV program on. I've got my lights on it, all my paints, I've got my drawing. I'm at peace. You just start painting. It's really enjoyable. And I hope it's enjoyable for you watching. Obviously, watching paint dry isn't always the most interesting thing, but we didn't have to worry about that. It was a way of adding paint as we worked our way through. Those bits are normally dry by the time I came back to it. And so it was an enjoyable process. So check out In the Greenwood Laser. Look them up. I have no affiliation with any of the companies that I ever suggest or show in a video. I just like the hobby. It's fun, and I like to share with you everything that I'm doing. So that's that. I've got a few more of their buildings to build up, or structures, I guess, if they're bridges. Yeah, we'll call them structures. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's still classed as a building. Who knows? I guess it got built. I'm sure there's an architect on here or a civil engineer that will pop on and let me know if it's a structure or a building. That'd be a comment. Anyway, I just want to say a big thank you to some of the people that leave me these really long comments. I love reading them, and I'm not just saying that so then I get more of these, but some of them leave me some really good information about something. For instance, like on the last episode, I talked about the radiuses, or maybe it was the episode before that, sorry, the radiuses and the gaps between them, and they're very kind to let me know that once you get to certain radiuses you can actually reduce the gap. I've gone for 67mm, so you can reduce it down to 50 and things like that. Can't remember the name, but thank you, you'll know who you are if you're watching this, so I appreciate things like that. I'm not an expert at the hobby, and unless I ask the right questions, it's then hard to find out what the next things are. My father and my brother are very knowledgeable within this. I ask various things from time to time, but I normally just get on with it in a yeah, we just go from there. That's all part of these things. You want to discover things yourself, don't you? You don't need to be asking for the answers all the time. It's nice to make your own mistakes and mess up, and then have another go and then improve, and that's how we learn anything, isn't it? So yeah, that's I enjoyed painting this, and I enjoyed putting the sky up. Actually, I didn't enjoy putting the sky up. It was not fun. You need 2 people when you do stuff like that, but I enjoyed doing it. At the end, I was like, oh, look at the results of that. It becomes worth it in the end, as all things do that, you know, require hard work. But I'm satisfied. It's now insulated. I've got boards up there. It's ready for when I put the boards for the railway up, which I'll talk about on another day a bit more. I'm currently working out in my head how I want to do things, but I really like the idea of the kind of open construction, like Everard Junction's done on his, where you've got things, you know, at different heights and you can build landscape up to it. Looks really good. As well as Mouldy Raspberry done a similar type thing, and it's fantastic. He has a landscape going up to the track and then goes up again. Fantastic. I think it's really brilliant. So I would like to do the same on this. So I'm just been thinking about it, and you overthink, don't you? So then you don't get anything done. So I'm gonna get on CAD, obviously computer aided design, if you don't know what that is, and I want to draw my loft. I want to put all the boards up at the right heights, and I know that sounds a little bit over the top, but for me, I do it as part of my work. It's reasonably, let's not say easy, but I know what to do, and I can start gauging kind of where everything's going to be and get a good idea of how the track's going to go out, and that'd be fun for me too. For some people it wouldn't be, it'd be incredibly boring and stressful possibly, but no, I enjoy that. Anyway, thank you so much to all my subscribers. If you're watching, you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. If you want to, you know, see more of what I do and don't miss out on future videos, and hit the bell even, you know, that's always a helpful thing. If you don't want to miss the next one and it pops up and you get to see it when I release it, because I like to do my premiere videos as well, which is, I don't know, fun for me because I get to engage with you all on the live chat at the same time. I also must say a huge thank you to my patrons who support me on this channel, who've been very good to me over the past number of months and supporting me that little bit extra. If you do become a patron, you get to see the videos a bit earlier. I normally release them on a Saturday, and sometimes I've made a mistake and they quite kindly point it out to me, or encourage me in the right directions, and so that's always, you know, very nice for me to be able to do that. Anyway, see you all soon. Take care of yourselves. Obviously we're in our second lockdown, not so fun, but we're all at home, but you can come on the loft, you can have some fun, you can play trains. It's maybe a time that you can turn into a possibly positive one. Anyway, see you soon, see you in the next video. Bye.